I made a little assessment and I just figured out that today, this talk of mine this afternoon, my 4th day in Cebu, I did 3 whole day training here, and this is now officially my 214th talk for the year. Why? I love speaking. Would you like to know why I love speaking with you? Because you don't have to be dashingly handsome or have a pretty face to be effective in public speaking, right? All you need to have is something good to say. Am I right? In fact, being dashingly handsome and having a pretty face is a distraction to public speaking. That is so true. Everybody raise up your right hand. You know I do this all the time. Everybody raise up your right hand, please. All across the room. Walang kanan pa yung right. Yes, thank you. Gently tap the shoulder of the person to your right. Look at that person and say, you gotta listen to our speaker. Raise up your left hand this time. And tap the shoulder of the person to your left. Look at that person and say, buti na lang, hindi ka distraction. Time passes by so fast. I just realized I've been speaking all over the place and I never realized I've grown. Oh, by the way, if you love what you do, it's no longer work. Am I right? How many among you love what you do? Raise up your hand. Take pictures, document them. And I never realized I'm going to be speaking all over the place until last year when I spoke in University of St. Lazaro in Bacolod. And after I spoke, a very pretty graduating college student, beauty queen material, approached me and says, Sir Francis, I just want you to know this is not my first time to hear you speak. I said, is that right? When was your first time? And she smiled and she's really pretty and she said, that was when I was 10 years old. Shut up! November of last year, there was a very elegant lady, you know the word signature all over, Manolo Blahnik down there, Birkenback out there, ostrich skin. And she approached me and she said, Sir Francis, I just want you to know you are the favorite of my parents. I wasn't excited, she's 48 years old. Ngunit ang taong nag-aaral ay hindi tumatanda. Do you agree? Quickly, raise up your left hand. Very fast, hurry, we don't have time. Tap the shoulder, person to your left, look at that person and say, mukhang hindi ka tumatanda. Kanang kamay naman, dali, tap the shoulder and look at that person and say, sinungaling ka talaga. Thank you very much for inviting me back. Many of you are my clients, and I want to thank you. And I feel so honored. This is not my first time. The last time I was with you, I think that was in SMX. Was that last year or 2 years ago? Last year, my, how fast time flies. I don't know if you notice one thing. The older you get, the faster time seems to breeze by. Did you notice that? Have you ever taken the time to process why? Would you like me to explain? You see, when you talk to a 1-year-old boy, you gotta wait 1 year, that's 100% of his life. But when you talk to somebody like me, you gotta wait 1 year, that's only 1/58. And that's why time breezes by so fast. But the great British philosopher C.S. Lewis has something to say. He says, but to say, my, how fast time flies is ridiculous, illogical, senseless. It is as if the fish were saying, my, how wet the water. Unless the fish is not destined to stay in the seas forever. Maybe the reason why you and I complain, my, how fast time flies, you and I are not destined to stay in this planet forever. Think about it. We're too serious. Raise up your right hand. Tap the shoulder, person to your right. Look at that person and say, your time in the planet is limited. Raise up your left hand. Tap the shoulder, person to your left. Look at that person and say, enjoy every moment. I like what the Honorable Senator Cayetano said when he first began with an opening statement found in Jeremiah 21:11. Let me quote, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future. ladies and gentlemen, there's one thing you and I need to realize. By the way, they said that the true measure of courage is not what one says or how loud his voice is, but the true measure of a person's courage is what he is saying or what he stands for during extreme times of controversy. And that's why as I studied the life of our senator, by the way, I voted for him. He was on top of my list because he had the courage to speak out even during times when it was not favorable for him. Am I right? Did you notice that? That's why I think you chose the right person to be your speaker. And one thing I have realized in my life is this. While God has a plan to prosper us, not to harm us, and plan to give us hope in the future, this is what I have discovered in my many years of existence in this decaying planet. Prosperity and success is a very heavy responsibility to bear. You need to have the right heart values, and you need to have the right skills to manage it and grow it, and make it sustainable. Does that make sense to you? As a matter of fact, there are many successes that have turned out to become calamities. And then again, there are many calamities that have turned out to be brilliant opportunities. And that is why I want to follow up his verse with another verse that goes this way. In Proverbs 10:22, it says, "The blessing of the Lord brings wealth." And this is the key thing. "And He adds no trouble to it." Success is success when trouble. And that's why it's not just the pursuit of success. It is the pursuit of something that makes us grow as indeed meaningful human beings that can serve others. So far, are you with me? Why are you so quiet? I don't like that. Raise up your hand. Tap the shoulder person to your left. Look at that person and say, "Strive for meaningful success." Kanang kamay naman, tap the shoulder, look at that person and say, "Wag kang mukhang pera." How many of you don't understand Filipino, by the way? Raise up your hand, please. Now, I have to extend my advance apologies because I'll be breaking out in certain local terms, but please don't worry. The people seated beside you now are officially appointed to be your translators. The world has changed. I got a question for you. How many among you are parents? Raise up your hand. Okay, there you go. How many among you are still single? Raise up your hand. Bakit? Watch. Let me ask you a question. The Amazing Four of just a few years ago happened to be, I don't know if you still remember the name, he founded this company that practically controlled every computer you had. It's Microsoft. And then when the laptop war came into picture, you had brands like Dell and you had Gateway and you had compact computer that was swallowed up by technology giant HP. Today, the Amazing Four are none of the above. Let me show you the Amazing Four today. The Amazing Four today are Larry Page of Google and Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook and Jeff Bezos of Amazon.com and Steve Jobs of Apple. You and I are now living in the post-PC world. Did you realize that? There was a time when the typical question used to be, are you a Mac person or are you a PC person? Nobody asks that question anymore. The basic question people ask today is, are you Android or are you iOS? Makes you feel like you're an alien, don't you? Now, I got a question and then I move on quickly to my main point. How many among your mothers raise up their hand? There you go. Do you know Bill Gates? Do you know Mark Zuckerberg? Do you know Steve Jobs? Do you know Michael Dell? Every single name that I mentioned at one time or another were considered as one of the richest men in the world. Am I right? And they all dropped out from college. There's a message there somewhere. We made a mistake. We graduated. I have something to tell you. The reason why I know this is because I moved in the circle of HR people last year. I had the privilege of being one of the members of the Board of Judges for PMAP, wherein we awarded Meralco as Employer of the Year So I studied this, and I just realized one thing. There's still a lot of parents who do not understand what's going on. May I be honest with you? Well, I am so proud of my kids. Yes, all of them are achievers. My son now runs a very popular restaurant called Crazy Katsu, and he's a drummer for a band. There you go.